I am perturbed. I am flabbergasted. I had to go to the dictionary because my vocabulary was not equipped well enough to be able to explain how I'm feeling at the moment. This is the worst trade in NBA history by far, and I don't think there's a close second place. The Brooklyn and Celtics trade was like second place, and it took a few years to realize that was the worst trade of all time when people realized what those picks turned out to be. This is the worst trade, and you find out now that it's the worst trade ever. 2 seconds after the trade went down. Man, I was up at 12 o'clock, and my friends started texting in the group chat. All the group chats started blowing up. All of them. I was like, nah, this is fake. This is shams. He got hacked. I went on Kenny Beecham's Twitter. He said, nah, Shams must have gotten hacked. I'm like, yeah, I agree. Man, when that ESPN notification hit, when I saw other reporters that have, really good credentials start posting the same thing, man. And yeah, man, this is crazy. This is up there. This is up there with one of the craziest moments in NBA history. And I think it's going to be one of those like 9/11 moments, like where were you type of events where like everybody's like, oh, I was doing this when I found out. I was doing that when I found out. Honestly, one of the craziest trades ever. Now let's break it down. Lakers receive Luka freaking Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris from the Mavericks. Dallas acquired Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and the Lakers 2029 first round pick. Just one first round pick. By the way, there's a third person in this trade. There was a third team in this trade. The Jazz received Jalen Hood-Schifino, the Clippers 2025 second round pick, and the Mavericks 2025 second round pick as well. Nobody, I just found that out this morning when I did research on it. Nobody really cared because it was like, okay, cool. Let's go and explain this trade because honestly, we need explanations, and the explanations we've received from the Mavericks side, I'm telling you, Mavericks fans are in an uproar. I said the only way I could justify this trade is if Luka committed some unspeakable act that we're about to find out, or he has some sort of degenerative knee tissue issue or something crazy where it's like, yeah, this dude's probably never going to play the same again, right? No. They said, we're a little concerned with his conditioning. We also think, and this is a direct quote from the GM, the Mavericks GM, that was the person that came up with this in his head and actually said yes to this. I believe that defense wins championships. So the reason why people say defense wins championships is because sometimes people overrate the offensive portion that goes into winning a championship. Defense is important, and it is the most important in my opinion. But when you have a dude like Luka Doncic that can facilitate an entire offense, and you can honestly you can get away with just sticking a bunch of good defensive guys around him and have him create the offense himself. This is the equivalent of finding a small bug in your room and burning down the entire neighborhood. That doesn't make sense. You fix the issue by getting more defensive talent. Now, I was watching a video by Lowe, who's a big Lakers fan. I'm sure he's happy, saying 25 players aren't fully developed yet. 25 players aren't the players they're going to be when they're older. And it's like Luka was already taking a team like the Mavericks to the finals without having the best conditioning. If this dude decided to get ripped one offseason, that's it. The league is doomed. Forget about it. And at the end of the day, you want your players to be conditioned. Why? Well, because they're going to get injured if they're not well conditioned, because that was another main issue. Well, Luka's been sustaining small injuries here and there. So you trade him for Anthony Davis, one of the most injury-prone players in the NBA. Again, it just makes no sense. The reason why this trade is horrible, and look, from a schematic standpoint, did the Mavericks arguably get maybe slightly better? When I mean slightly better, I mean 1% better because of the defense that Anthony Davis brings to the team, to the pick and roll between him and Kyrie. That's going to be fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. The Mavericks are a great team to watch for the next maybe 2 to 3 years. And then after that, what? This is what I'm saying. I'm not surprised that the Mavericks will make a deep run this postseason. But at the end of the day, you're asking, keep in mind, 2 of the greatest sidekicks in NBA history, 2 of the best number 2 guys to win a championship. But you need a number 1. 2 number 2s, even if they're 2 of the greatest number 2s that ever exist, you need a number 1 to win. And that's what this GM and this new owner of the Mavericks does not realize that. By the way, kids, anyone can become a billionaire. The owner of the Dallas Mavericks that just bought the Dallas Mavericks recently thought that legitimately this is a good idea. That shows you that it doesn't matter how low your IQ is, you can become a billionaire. You just have to get super freaking lucky. The reason why I consider it a bad trade, even if the Mavericks go on to win a championship, the reason why I still consider this a bad trade, and by the way, they got to win the championship in the next 1 to 2 years. The reason I consider this a bad trade is because they didn't even offer it to anybody else. Dude, if it comes out that the Mavericks wanted Luka and Luka didn't even come up to them and say, hey, I want to be traded, the bidding war would have been historic. It would have been one of the greatest bidding wars in the history of sports. You would have gotten 10 king's ransoms offered to you. Man, you go to OKC with all the draft picks that they have and all the young talent, they could have essentially given you like a Chet Holmgren and like 5 first rounders or Jay Will and like 5 first rounders and whatever. Like they could have given you some crazy deal where you would have still been good and you would have had a ton of first round picks. I mean, Rudy Gobert went for 5 first rounders. What the hell you think Luka gonna go for, bro? Like really, if Rudy went for 5, Luka should go for 50 first rounders. What are we talking about? Why didn't you trade for Anthony Edwards? At the end of the day, you want defense, but you also want to be still young, right? Anthony Edwards gives you that. He gives you 30 points on offense. He gives you great defense. He would have been that and more. You would have done the trade for Anthony Edwards. We not hating right now. We're like, okay, that's a crazy trade. And you're like, well, you think the Timberwolves will really give it up? Really give up Anthony Edwards? Bro, when we talking Luka freaking Doncic, everybody's on the table. That's what I'm saying. Everybody across the league. You find out Luka Doncic is up for trade. The Bucks are looking at Giannis. They're like, Even the Spurs would take a glance at Victor. Not saying they would. Just they would think about it. Like there's no team in the NBA that would just be like, no, we're not trading any player on our roster for this dude. Everybody would think about it because it's Luka freaking Doncic. If it was me, if I'm the Mavericks, you have to give me Anthony Edwards. You have to give me Austin Reeves and at least 2 first round picks after that. And still, that's not even good enough for me. I would say like give me 5 first rounders on top of the fact I'm getting Austin Reeves and Anthony Davis. Here's the thing. I don't think the Lakers are done trading. I don't think the Lakers are done trading at all. I feel like if I'm the Lakers, call me crazy, I start looking at LeBron, because at the end of the day, LeBron's going to retire either next year or the year after that. And yes, they have basketball. They have super smart basketball IQ to the point where they could just kind of figure it out. I understand that, right? And JJ Redick's a high IQ dude, so they're going to, find ways to make it work. But it's just like, dog, LeBron's going to retire in 1 to 2 years. And when he retires, you don't get anything for him. Zero, nilch. If you can still get potentially an all-star caliber player, maybe, get LeBron, get Austin Reeves, and you can get like an all-star caliber center for it, I'll probably look at that really quick. I still think they can get a center without having to give up Braun. Austin Reeves, for sure, start looking to give up Austin Reeves. And I think you can get a pretty good center for him. Don't got to be anybody young. You could get a vet. Just get somebody that's solid, a solid number 5. And I think y'all are going to be good to go. Mavericks fans, I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart, I am sorry. I'm a Heat fan, and I get pissed that Pat Riley just sits on his butt all day and does nothing, makes no moves, makes no trades. It pisses me off. But what y'all are going through is a whole different type of hurt. Y'all had Jalen Brunson and Luka Doncic on the same team. When I tell you that is one of, if not the greatest front office fumble of all time, it is. They fumbled the bag horribly. And honestly, bro, the Mavericks GM is going to get crucified on every social media, on every sports TV show, and he deserves it. I don't know if maybe the owner decided to do this and the GM is just kind of like defending it because that's his job, and if that is, I'm sorry, dog. If I'm you, I quit. If I'm Jason Kidd, if I'm the Mavericks coach, I'm out. I quit. You're not doing that. Hell no. This is honestly one of the worst trades of all time, in my opinion. Even if Anthony Davis is great for them, you could have gotten more. Even if you wanted Anthony Davis, if you would have made it known that Luka was up for trading, the Lakers would have been forced to up whatever they were offering you. In my opinion, worst trade of all time. And yeah, I mean, look, Mavericks have 1 or 2 years to win a championship. And if they do not, the owner and that general manager will be the worst things to ever happen in the NBA's history. These are the dumbest human beings to ever exist in the history of the NBA. Mavericks fans, let me know how y'all feel. I feel for y'all right now. I couldn't imagine to lose somebody like Luka on my team. How do y'all feel? What was your first reaction? If y'all could tell me the place y'all were in. Lakers fans, what do y'all think are the next moves the Lakers need to make so they can be competitive this year? And yeah, anybody else, let me know what y'all were doing when y'all found out this trade went through and if y'all believed it. This is crazy. Have a great day. Peace.